In a stunning turn of events, it's now official. Lil Durk has been cleared of the murder-for-hire charges that once threatened to derail his entire life and career. The courtroom battle has shifted dramatically in his favor, and while a few legal hurdles still remain, this monumental win puts Durk on a fast track to freedom, reshaping not just his fate, but the entire narrative surrounding his case. When news broke from inside the courtroom that the murder-for-hire charges against Lil Durk had been dropped, it didn't just shake the legal world, it shook the culture. This wasn't just another rapper beating a case. This was a full-blown resurrection, a comeback story in real time. Because for months, even years, Durk's name had been tethered to the kind of charge that almost no one walks away from. A charge that, if it stuck, could have meant life in prison. But now, that cloud has lifted, and what's left is a man staring down freedom with fire in his eyes and revenge in his heart. Let's rewind for a moment and paint the full picture. Because to understand how significant this is, you have to grasp the depth of the storm Durk was trapped in. The murder-for-hire accusations were more than just scandalous headlines. They were a ticking time bomb. Prosecutors alleged that Durk had orchestrated a plot to eliminate a rival, not just through back-and-forth beef, but through cold, calculated murder. The narrative was that Durk wasn't just a rapper talking tough in lyrics. They said he was a shot caller in the shadows, putting real lives on the line. And let's not lie, the media ran wild with it. Every blog, every news outlet, every hip-hop gossip channel ran stories, implying that Durk was done, that he joined a long, tragic list of street rappers who couldn't leave the life behind, that the darkness of his past had finally caught up with him. But what they didn't know, what the prosecution didn't expect, was that Durk had been quietly preparing for this battle behind the scenes, that he'd assembled a legal team so sharp, so aggressive, and so relentless, they were ready to tear the case apart brick by brick. That's exactly what happened. According to sources close to the courtroom, the murder-for-hire charge didn't just fall apart. It disintegrated under the weight of its own shaky foundation. Key witnesses recanted. Phone evidence didn't match up. Alleged communications turned out to be either fabricated, misinterpreted, or flat-out manipulated. One by one, the pillars holding up the prosecution's case crumbled, and Durk's lawyers pounced, pointing out every inconsistency, every procedural error, and every questionable move that had been made in the rush to convict a high-profile target. But here's what makes this even wilder. Insiders claim that the entire murder-for-hire narrative may have been fueled by a combination of clout-chasing witnesses and internal beef within law enforcement. People looking to make a name for themselves by taking down a big fish, a rapper with a checkered past, a high profile, and a reputation for being just close enough to the street to make the lie believable. But now that lie is dead. Officially, legally, publicly. And Lil Durk? He's alive in every way. People who saw him walk out of the latest hearing say he looked like a man reborn. Calm, focused, not celebrating, not yet, but processing the moment with quiet confidence. The kind of confidence that comes from surviving the worst storm of your life and realizing the sun's finally coming out. And that moment of peace, it's not just a personal victory. It's a cultural shift, because Durk isn't just any rapper. He's one of the most influential voices of his generation. A symbol of pain turned into poetry, of trauma turned into art. And now he gets to keep telling his story, uninterrupted. But let's keep it 100. The war isn't completely over. While the murder-for-hire charges are gone, there are still some pending accusations being reviewed. Some lesser felonies. Some things tied to prior investigations. But none of them, carry the weight, the sting, or the life-altering consequences that the murder-for-hire charge did. And sources say his legal team is already working overtime to knock those down, too. With the biggest charge off the table, they have momentum, they have leverage, and they're going for the clean sweep. In the streets, the reaction has been electric. Fans who've stuck by Durk through it all, from his early days in Chicago to his rise as a chart-topping artist, are celebrating like their own brother just got out. Social media lit up with hashtags, fan art, emotional posts, and even industry peers showing love. Rappers who stayed quiet during the case are suddenly back in Durk's corner. Producers are sending beat packs. Labels are whispering about comeback projects. This is the moment the culture was waiting for. And let's not ignore the optics. This one doesn't just benefit Durk. It sends a message that sometimes the system does get it wrong. That being a street rapper doesn't make you guilty by default. That it's possible to fight back, even when the odds are stacked sky high. Durk's victory is a victory for every artist who's ever been told they wouldn't make it out. Every kid from the trenches who's been targeted just for surviving. But what's next? That's the real question. Insiders close to Durk say he's planning something huge. A return to music. Yes, but not just any return. Something cinematic. Something reflective. There are whispers of a documentary chronicling the case from his point of view.